The 2017-18 Syracuse University basketball season ended with a loss to Duke in the NCAA Sweet 16. 10 years from now, when someone asks you about this team, what will you tell them? What's the word that will come to mind? Resilient? Tough? Depth? Heart. Syracuse lost a key player early when Torian Thompson, projected to play an integral role with the Orange, decided to transfer to Seton Hall, taking one of the best offensive talents off the roster. The season began with a family affair as Jimmy Boeheim, son of Hall of Fame head coach Jim Boeheim, started for the Cornell Big Red and promptly buried a three-pointer right in Dad's face. It was on December 1st, just before Syracuse took on a major non-conference team in Kansas, that we learned transfer guard Geno Thorpe left the program for personal reasons. The Orange couldn't overcome the one-man wrecking crew known as Devontae Graham as he scored 35 points for Kansas to sink the Orange December 2nd in Miami. Old Big East foe UConn went down next at Madison Square Garden, showing that one old rivalry still has a spark. But not as big as this one. Syracuse and Georgetown met on December 16th. SU fans got a serious case of nostalgia as Patrick Ewing paced the sideline and coached against Jim Boeheim. The Orange overcame a 15-point deficit and won 86-79 in overtime. Said Boeheim after the win,
it was a lot like it used to be. No, just there wasn't any blood on the floor.
A Western New York invasion happened next as the Orange narrowly escaped with an 81-74 win over Buffalo. St. Bonaventure redeemed Western New York's attempts to seize a victory in the Dome, taking down the Orange in overtime. ACC play arrived on 2017's last day, with Syracuse defeating Virginia Tech in a game that set the tone for how the Orange would scrap together most of its wins. Orange guard Frank Howard said it best. "Every game is going to be a dogfight for us. We're the do-whatever-it-takes team," Howard said. "Whatever it takes, as long as we win." The Orange stumbled to a 1-4 ACC record, with close losses to Wake Forest, Notre Dame, Virginia, and Florida State. Do you think Jim Boeheim was worried about his team after that double overtime defeat to the Seminoles?
It's 5 games. Who cares? You got a whole season. You got 13 games to go. Anything can happen. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You play the next game.
Syracuse recovered from that 1-4 ACC hole with 3 straight wins over Pittsburgh and Boston College. But its depth was hit again as Matthew Moyer suffered an ankle injury. Syracuse lost more than a game against Georgia Tech on January 31st, when Boeheim revealed that the injury bug bit again as guard Howard Washington Jr. was ruled out for the season. Keep in mind that Barama Sidibe was nearly ruled out as a medical redshirt with knee tendonitis, and it was a game-by-game decision at this point as well. Syracuse entered a February schedule with just 7 scholarship players, and with games against the ACC's top teams still to come. After losing to Virginia, Syracuse picked up a badly needed road win at Louisville on ESPN's Big Monday, February 5th. A bubble battle against NC State at the Carrier Dome on Valentine's Day went to the Wolfpack, but Syracuse picked up a crucial road win at Miami. The Orange gave North Carolina all it could handle in a 78-74 loss at the Carrier Dome on February 21st. It lost to Duke 60-44 at Cameron Indoor Stadium 3 days later. The Orange were then handed a stunning loss at Boston College, 85-70. To say the Orange's regular season finale against Clemson was a must-win would be an understatement. Syracuse got that win, getting its grind on to nab the 55-52 victory over the Tigers, finding a way to win despite shooting 30% from the field. The Orange took down Wake Forest in Game 1 of the ACC Tournament in Brooklyn, but lost convincingly to North Carolina in Game 2. When it was time for the selection shift, the Orange saw their name on the screen, and we got to see what pure joy looks like. Some didn't appreciate the Orange's inclusion in the 2018 NCAA Tournament, but Syracuse didn't care. See, when it comes to March, Syracuse has a built-in advantage that turns the minds of opposing teams to mush, the dreaded 2-3 zone. Arizona State was held to a season-low 56 points as the Orange beat the Sun Devils in Dayton to advance to the next round in Motown. The TCU Horned Frogs were held to a season-low 52 points as Syracuse grinded out another win. to set up a showdown with Michigan State. Even with a crowd at Little Caesars Arena overwhelmingly in favor of the Spartans, the Orange pulled Michigan State into the zone trap, sending Tom Izzo's team on a short ride home from Detroit with a 55-53 loss. It was on to the Sweet 16 in Omaha. It was there where Duke's dynamic duo of Marvin Bagley III and Wendell Carter Jr. proved to be a little too much for the Orange, leading the Blue Devils to a 69-65 win. After the game, Jim Boeheim was hard-pressed to be disappointed with the effort, saying, quote, "They had an incredible end of the year. I've never been any more proud of a team for what they've done." A 2017-18 season filled with twists, turns, departures, grind, angst, upsets, and a little Cinderella story thrown in, ended in March Madness. The 2017-18 Orange, they'll be remembered for defying the odds and doing whatever it takes.